All right, back with the Who Is Will Sims podcast. It's been a minute. It's been a busy couple months, so I am glad to be back. Good news is the podcast studio is almost up and running, so hoping to have some guests back on soon because I have a lot of cool people that I want to talk to. A lot of musicians and some other people that have cool things going on. So, yeah, man, it's been a pretty hectic few months. Yeah, let's get into it. So, first thing I want to talk about is let's go to this one. All right, there we go. First thing I want to talk about is my new EP that I just put out. So, as most of you are aware, I released an album in August, and Amber Eyes was on the album. Amber Eyes is the first song I put out, though, 10 years ago. And so to commemorate the 10-year anniversary, I put out this little EP. It's got a really cool remix by Tony Corelli, who really put some cool stuff on there. Still features Lindsay's vocals on there. And it's just a really groovy, dancey remix. So highly recommend checking that out. And then it also has 3 live versions of Amber Eyes in different versions. We have one we did with the band where Lindsay came up and sang, which was pretty cool. And then I have a version that we did in New York, which had Hilly Jude singing the backup parts on it, which she did a great job on, with Nico Sells on drums. And then there's another version that I did with another local talent, Grace Ellie. She's got a bunch of music out there as well, so check her out. And yeah, just really, really cool, interesting versions of the song in addition to live performances. So go check that out. Go check out the new album. Pretty happy with how that turned out. I have some more cool stuff in the works. About to start another release cycle here of for another live album. So be on the lookout for that. And then I'll be going into next year. I have another album that's finished, so we'll start working on that. It's also the 10-year anniversary for my first 2 albums next year, so I'll see what I can do to, pump those up. I'm thinking about maybe vinyl pressings. That might be cool. I don't know if anyone has experience. I don't know how many of y'all are rocking vinyl records, but I think that would be a really cool thing to have out there for people to check out. And then, of course, hopefully some more live stuff, more remixes. Always looking for fun ways to reinvent my songs. So yeah, that's what I got going on in the original music realm. So next I want to get into some of the shows I got coming up. I got a couple songwriter showcases coming up. The first one's going to be on November 23rd. This will feature Andrew Tyler, Damian Wolf, Brian Dunaway, Gerard McNeil, and Gabe Reel. I'll be hosting that up at Fifth Company Brewing on Sunday, November 23rd from 1 to 5. So that's always a cool time up there. They got some great food and some great beer. They're one of the places that's got you get the little card and you can just put that in and pour as much beer, as little or as much beer as you want, and you only pay for what you pour. So that's pretty cool if you want to sample stuff. That's a cool spot up there. And then the following week, I have another one that will be in Frederick at Rockwell Brewery, Riverside location. This one will feature Callum, Alicia O'Malley, Jack Quinn of Feather and Flask, Derek Credito, Kristen Rebecca, and Sadia. And that's going to be a cool place too. It's a nice venue there they have, and lots of great artists on this one as well. Alicia is an amazing talent who I've worked with before. She's played on a few of my songs. Feather and Flask is a friend of the podcast. Credito is a friend of the podcast. And Callum is a up-and-coming songwriter who is writing some really great stuff. So hoping that y'all can make it out to that one, because that's going to be awesome. Then in terms of shows that have passed, I want to talk about the emo show we did, which was a lot of fun. We put on our own little show here, me and some buddies. We did the Jimmy Eat World tribute again with my band. Shuttlecraft did a Green Day set, which was epic. And then the Chucks did a Fall Out Boy set, and then we did a big like emo mixtape set with a bunch of just different emo songs in it. Our buddy Charlie DJ'd it. He was awesome. And this was just a great show. Reckless Shepherd's such a cool venue. It's a big space. They got a really great production there. And I'm hoping to put some videos out of that once we get some stuff mixed. So, really exciting stuff. Thank you to everyone who's come out to support. In terms of gigs, it's been pretty light for the fall. I took some time off to focus on work and just trying to get like my life in order, that kind of stuff. Working on some new music, just trying to stay busy, spend time with the family. But so yeah, that's all I got for the world of music. So now I'm going to get into some entertainment related things that I've been checking out. I've been watching a lot of stuff. We got the new It show. Me and my brother both watched the It mini series back in the day on TV. That was like such a crazy thing when we were kids. And then the movies came out. We love the movies, and the show's been awesome. Not going to talk too much about it because I prefer to talk about the whole show once it's out. But we've been loving it so far. It's been freaky, and it's been pretty intriguing. But we did watch Alien Earth, which was a really cool show. Like, definitely a surprise, because with shows like this, I'm always afraid that like it's going to be like 5 episodes of build up, and then like you get to see the alien in the last episode, and it's like, oh, did I really have to sit through all those episodes just to see the alien? But no, they came in hard with this show right off the bat. Alien taking people out. There's these other species that are in the show that are like crazy all in their own ways, and characters were great. Some really interesting themes. It really does a great job of like kind of touching on a lot of things from different eras of Alien. So, and like Prometheus, and just pretty much everything that they could have incorporated in the show they did, while also introducing some new ideas. So I highly recommend checking that out if you're a fan of the Alien franchise. It's definitely felt like the most original thing in a while for Alien. Like the last movie, Alien Romulus, was really good, but it kind of felt like, typical Alien movie, people trying to survive the alien. It was good, but didn't really like do anything new or crazy. But Alien Earth felt like it's got some really interesting concepts and some really fun ideas going on there. Cool. Next, I want to talk about Tron Ares. So I went and saw Tron Ares, and I had fun. I really went. I went and saw an IMAX. I would say the biggest reason I went for sure is because Nine Inch Nails did the soundtrack, and I was really excited to hear how that was incorporated in the movie. And in the movie, it was great. It felt like a very visceral experience with the soundtrack. And the movie's like a fun time. A lot of great visual effects. Looks great. I think So here's the thing with me in the Tron series. So I've never seen the original. It's one of those things I've always wanted to get around to watching, but I haven't. It's one of those things I think about. It'd be cool to do like a watch along type thing or reaction videos to watching it, but most of like the big movies I've seen, so it's not like there's like a bunch of movies that I could do a series out of that with, but it could be fun to do something like that. But I saw Tron Legacy when that came out because I remember everyone was talking about, if there was people that talked about it like it was a big deal, and I remember seeing it and being really blown away by it visually, but the story was just kind of like okay for me, and that's kind of how I felt about this one. Like I think the thing I liked about Tron Legacy was the larger story, but also like the games and stuff that are in it, and how like the different types of games they had, like with the cycles and the discs and stuff, like that kind of cut in with like the larger story kind of added a lot of tension into that movie. Whereas like this one has some of those elements, but it doesn't necessarily dwell much on like any of the gaming aspects of it. But like I know a lot of people probably weren't too thrilled about this movie. I mean, sadly, Jared Leto gets a lot of hate, and I can understand why. He's definitely an out there character, but in real life, but I've seen him in a lot of movies where I liked him. He was in I think Lord of War. He was really good. Obviously, Fight Club. Some of these movies he's more of a background character, which he seems to work well in. I watched that movie, The Little Things, with Denzel Washington, and he was kind of creepy in that movie, but he kind of worked in that role. And I think that I think there's like something about him, like he doesn't really have like charisma, like a lot of other actors like Tom Cruise or Denzel Washington have. He's very like stoic, and he kind of worked as this AI character, but not all the time. But he does a lot of the physical stuff that's pretty cool, and he definitely has an intriguing look to him. But and obviously does all the 30 Seconds to Mars stuff, which is cool. But yeah, man, overall, like it was just an okay movie. Like I think we're in a tough time right now with the economy, where people are with the price of what it costs to go see a movie. A lot of people really need a good reason to go, and I think in a lot of ways this movie could have been like a really great theater experience, but people just don't have that kind of money to spend right now. Like everyone's struggling to buy groceries, and so going out to see a movie is a tough ask. But all in all, it was a good time. I thought the soundtrack was pretty good for the movie in terms of a Nine Inch Nails listening experience. It only has a few songs on it that are like actual actual whole songs that aren't just like soundtrack stuff. So it has a fun few songs in there. I know that Nine Inch Nails are going on tour next year, and I definitely want to go see that. But we'll see what happens there. All right, next movie I want to talk about is Shelby Oaks. So I'm sure there's probably a lot of you that don't know a whole lot about this movie, or like the story behind it. But basically, Chris Stuckman's been, movie reviewer on YouTube for many years, since before it was cool to do it, since before like it was basically like an industry at this point. But it was something he started out doing. It was something he liked. He liked talking about movies, just kind of like what I'm doing right now. I'm not making any money off of this, yet, but like I like talking about movies. So he started out with that, and then a few years ago, he got one of his scripts greenlit, and got a studio behind him. He ran a really successful Kickstarter campaign, raised a bunch of money to fund this movie and really like get, try to get it to look the best that it could, and then the studio threw some more money and a little bit later in the production really kind of like polished it up. And so it was really cool to get to see it because there was like, I don't know, like a year and a half now that I've been hearing about it's going to come out, it's going to come out, it's going to come out. And then, it finally did come out. So, and it's executive produced by Mike Flanagan. And, he's done Haunting of Hill House and Doctor Sleep and a lot of other really great horror stuff. So there's a lot of good stuff behind this movie. And me and my brother went and saw it, me and my brother and his girlfriend. And, I think we all enjoyed it. It wasn't like a fun horror movie. I know there's a lot of like horror movies these days that are, like have like elements, like more elements to them that make them like engaging to an audience. Like I felt like Weapons was a good example. Like there was a lot of like really bizarre stuff in Weapons. There was a lot of like really kind of creepy scenes, and then the ending of the movie had like a lot of. It was almost like a funny kind of shocking ending to the movie. But the thing about Weapons, because I did just watch that recently, is I feel like it didn't give me enough. Like the movie was fun and entertaining, but like there was a lot of elements of the story that weren't really like explained. Like why, like at least as far as I could tell, I feel like there are a lot of things that I can infer. Like I can probably assume that the lady wanted all the kids to make her younger or something, but none of that stuff's really like dived into, like what her powers are, why she can do it, this and that. Like you just kind of like it's kind of like it's a story from the perspective of the characters, so you really only ever know what they know. So, and there's no real like scene where they break everything down. And that's one of the things about Shelby Oaks that I thought was done really well is, they, without like the character really like having all these moments where she really understands what's happening, you as an audience member get to see things that kind of say like, this is what's going on, and visually like there's a lot of like freaky shots and stuff that kind of do a better job of explaining like what's kind of happening than a lot of things that happen in Weapons that are just kind of like like how the witch powers work or why people are like so under the control of that a bit power or whatever. It felt like Shelby Oaks was pretty straightforward in like explaining a lot of those things. So what I'm basically saying is like I felt like the overall story of Shelby Oaks was better than Weapons. So just in that regard, I would say that I was more entertained by Weapons. There's a lot of like stuff that's happening in that movie that's keeps you engaged. Shelby Oaks had a little bit more of like had a few more of those like why is this character doing this, like the horror movie moments where you're like, oh my goodness, why are you doing that right now, this is so dumb, like you're really just putting yourself in danger. But you also understand the reason why the character's doing it, but yeah, Shelby Oaks I think was a good time, and I definitely recommend checking it out. I don't know where it's going to end up on streaming, but I think it's a good piece of work for someone who's first time directing, and I really hope Chris Stuckman gets a chance to do some more work in the directing realm. So good for him. All right, lastly, Predator Badlands. So just a little of my backstory on the Predators, my feelings on the Predator franchise. So naturally, probably like 99.9% of the people out there, Predator is like top tier movie for me. Just in the structure, the execution. Obviously, you can tell like there's a little bit of that it's a product of its time thing, but you could also tell that like somehow they managed to take like the limitations they had at the time and still make like a phenomenal movie. And so like to me that's always been like the pinnacle of the series. Sometimes with franchises like this, and I hate calling them franchise, IPs, whatever, like the series. Sometimes they take that original idea and then they really build upon it well. But Predator has always kind of struggled with really like hitting that the stride that the original one had. And when I was a kid, Predator 2 was like just more of something I liked. Watching it now, I can see like it's a little bit messier, a little bit more chaotic, but it's still a lot of fun and still like feels like more of the Predator that I like as opposed to where it kind of went later. And even Predators, I liked Predators a lot. I thought that I like the idea of like ensemble cast. You set them up as likable badasses, and then you kind of start picking them off one at a time. I didn't think the deaths were as memorable in that one. There's a few people that get killed off before they even have a chance to do anything. But and then the Predator was really disappointing. Like that one, it was a shame because a lot of people, I think, thought because Shane Black was directing it and he wrote on the first one that we were in good hands. But and I know a lot of the drama, like of the of like how they changed the whole ending of the movie, all that stuff. But still, like I just felt like in general the story wasn't as interesting. The setup for the movie wasn't that interesting. The characters, there were some fun characters, but they weren't as interesting. And then like when they all start dying, it's all like because of the dumbest things. It's never because the predator is killing them. It's always because they flew into a tree and got impaled by a branch, or they got their legs cut off by the shields of a spaceship. Like it was all dumb stuff. And then Prey was like the first time it felt like the franchise was really kind of getting back to its roots, and having like a real kind of intense showdown with the Predator. Like it didn't have as much of the ensemble cast, but overall, I felt like it really landed. And then the Killer of Killers animated movies, or the animated movie was like a really fun addition, like kind of expansive story. It wasn't quite like as a single cohesive movie as so much as it kind of felt like a really cool like lore expansion on the Predators. So that brings us to Predator Badlands. So, and AVP, not really going to talk much about that. They didn't really hit the way that I think they could have. So Predator Badlands. So what I will say is overall thought it was a great movie. Just on its own, not even like comparing it as like a Predator movie. Just on its own, like if you were like taking your kids out and you hadn't seen any Predator movies, this one's PG-13. It's still very violent, but it's PG-13, and the story overall is like really well told. The first scene with the Predator gets you right on its side. You understand where it's coming from. You understand why it's doing what it needs to do. And then from there, like it kind of becomes this really fun sci-fi action adventure movie. Like it's not a horror movie, like not like a sci-fi horror movie like a lot of the other Predator movies. There's definitely some horror elements, but it's definitely approached more from an action standpoint than like building up a lot of tension and payoff and tension and then scare, stuff like that. But the only criticism that I would have is there's a little bit of there's one spot in the movie. I'm sure a lot of people know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. But there's like a spot in the middle of the movie where there's it's like a scene that's kind of really played for laughs. It involves the predator and another creature. And I feel like for people that are casual viewers, they'll probably be really entertained by that and find it funny and cute. But as someone who really wants the predator to be this badass thing, it felt like a little out of place. But it's a minor criticism. I'm sure there's people out there that are saying, I know there's people out there that are saying, oh, Disney's ruining Predator. I don't really think that's the case here. I think this is really a extension of Predator lore that's been explored in comic books and other stories that really kind of focus on the predators themselves and what their role is in the universe. And I feel like Dan Trachtenberg's trying to tap into that with, not he could have went full on and just dumped a bunch of lore on us and been this is everything. But I feel like he's been very tastefully kind of giving us a little piece by piece, and building upon it. And what I really like about, because he directed Prey, he directed Killer of Killers, and he directed Badlands, I really think that Dan Trachtenberg is trying to build towards something, or at least set a pathway for other people to really make the Predators a franchise, again, I say franchise, I hate saying it, just a series that's can really go somewhere and do some really cool, interesting stuff, because there's not really anything else like it out there. These alien creatures that hunt the strongest in the universe. They have an honor code and stuff. They're not just out killing because they don't like people or whatever. And I'm really excited to see where they can take it from here. If I had to rank it with other Predator movies, it's really tough because, objectively, I think Predator 2 and Predators are okay movies, and I think this is a good movie. So my gut feeling is to put it below Predator but above all the other ones. But I think I should probably watch it again and really try to soak it in. I have a feeling this is the kind of movie that a lot of people are going to skip in theaters, and when it comes out on streaming, you're going to see a lot of people going, oh man, this was really good. I wish I'd seen it in theaters. I think if you are on the fence about it, you should go see this in a theater, because it's definitely a big experience, and it's a lot of fun. And it's just badass, man. I will say there's a couple things that happen in this movie that mirror the original Predator that I thought was really cool. Just little beats that kind of play into those little moments that happen throughout the original movie. And I didn't want to get into spoilers too much, just because I don't really like ruining stuff. Maybe if I was talking with other people, if I had someone else on the podcast want to talk about it, I'd be happy to go into spoilers. But yeah, so Predator Badlands, I think it's worth a watch, and you should check it out. So, what else can we talk about here? So we're getting to the close to the end of 2025 here, getting into 2026. I think that it's been it's been a very interesting year. My goal this year was to play as many shows as I could, and it's been a tough year. There's been a lot of shows that didn't work out. There's been a lot of places that stopped booking me for one reason or another. Sadly, I wish more of those places would tell me. You know, I can handle criticism. Like if they've said, "Hey, look, you're just not working with what we want here," I could accept that. You know, I could be like, "Look, I get it. I don't want to be a reason people don't want to come to your venue if I'm not the style that you want." But you know, at the same time, like I do what I feel like I'm best suited to do, and you know, I try to play to the crowd when I can. It's not always you know, I'm not a song machine. I don't know every song. I don't like trying stuff if I don't know it. Like if I can't think of the song in my head, I don't want to butcher it. I've had a lot of bad experiences with that. But yeah, in general, I just it ended up being a tough year with a lot of cancellations and stuff, and you know, a lot of things that just didn't pan out. And so going into next year, I'm thinking about a lot of you know, some different paths that I might be taking. You know, just some different ideas of things I want to do. I like being creative. I like experimenting with creative fields, like, you know, doing a lot of the video stuff, a lot of video editing. That's been fun. You know, I got a nice camera. I've been doing some video work, trying to get, you know, find some other ways to contribute to the scene, and you know, maybe cut back on shows next year and do fewer, more meaningful shows, and you know, really try to you know, figure some stuff out, because life's been tough lately. You know, money's been tough. Going out and playing a lot can be really exhausting. I know there's probably a lot of people that wish they could do it all the time, but you know, I feel like the more you do anything, it really starts to wear on you. And I still love playing music, and I want to do it in a way that makes sense. So yeah, that's some of the things I've been thinking about lately. If you could think of someone you want to see me interview, put them in the comments. You know, I'm kind of mostly dealing with smaller indie people right now, and you know, trying to help artists get some exposure and you know, for their music and things they have going on. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and thanks for tuning in to everyone who's still listening, and I appreciate you. But for now, I'm gonna wrap this up, and hope to see y'all soon.